Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win, or you find a way to lose. And so, now that we all know, for those who didn't know, we all know who the hell Giovanni Santillan is, right? The word on the street is that he used to spar Floyd Mayweather, and that he whipped Floyd Mayweather's butt. Now, take that with a grain of salt. One thing we do know for a fact is he has sparred Floyd Mayweather. So as far as whipping Floyd Mayweather's butt, I don't know about that. But the word on the street is that Santillan has always been known for his conditioning, for his motor, and for a guy as every round passes, he seems to get stronger and stronger and throw more punches. And that just seems to be something that he's trained. He's been conditioned to fight the way from a young kid. And that's why, to some people who are close to Giovanni Santillan, they weren't surprised at his performance last night. Now, I'm going to tell you, I knew who Giovanni Santillan was. But I didn't know who Giovanni Santillan was, meaning I didn't think that guy existed that entered that ring last night and brutally destroyed Alexis Rocha. Now, I'm going to tell you, I think Alexis Rocha fought the wrong fight. I think a boxer puncher handled Santillan with no problem. Just keep the jab in his face, occasionally drop a right hand behind it, step around, circle the ring, effectively using lateral movement and just intelligence. But you got to have an engine on you too, and you got to be able to keep that up for 12 rounds. Because if not, Santillan will at some point start to get close to you, and he's letting his hands go. We all saw he was throwing sonic booms in there, six hooks with his right hand. The man went beyond Roy Jones. I was calling him, Mexican Roy Jones. I was calling him Roy Jones because that's what the man looked like in there. But that being said, a lot of people saying, well, how can people be out here talking about Giovanni Santillan defeating an Earl Spence, which is what I said. I think he would beat Earl Spence. Because Earl Spence is coming forward looking for a mashup crasher, but he throws wide shots, and Santillan is going to get inside those shots. And I just think it's going to be an ugly fight, and I think Earl Spence loses. But then again, Rocha is not Earl Spence. But Earl Spence is up to 154. He ain't trying to fight at 147. But we're just having a conversation. But I just think with other fighters, he could struggle. But there was someone who said, okay, well, who has he fought? Everybody's out here all of a sudden champion Giovanni Santillan. But who has he fought? He's fought nobody. How can you come now just because he beat Rocha, which some people are saying Rocha was a hype job? I don't agree with that. Okay, Rocha's not a hype job. Rocha can fight. He can box. He fought the wrong fight. And he got in there with somebody who was there to win. And this was like Eminem said, you only get one shot, right? And he took advantage. Talk about seizing an opportunity. But when we look at who, Santillan is, I totally understand how a person can say, well, who has he fought? Because when you start going down the list of names, I mean, no one really jumps out at you. So first we got to understand he has 32 wins, 17 of those wins by KO. Okay, he has a 53% KO ratio, which means that, he's not pillow-fisted necessarily. But he got respectable power, okay? Stands at 5'8", has a 68-inch reach. So right there looking at that, Crawford's about 5'8", but Crawford has like a 74, 75-inch reach. So that right there tells you that Terrence Crawford was to ever fight someone like him, it's the way he fights. Crawford can easily pick him apart with that long reach, and Crawford very intelligent, very fast, and very powerful. So I don't think Santillan stands a chance against Crawford. But as we come down and take a look at some of the names he's fought, let's just go back to about right here. Okay, now we're looking at Rosbel Montoya. Now this fight took place 2015, right? So let's just go up at some of the names here and see if you recognize any of these names. Montoya, Jose de Jesus Macias, Miguel Mendoza, and you got Omar Bahina, Sammy Valentin, Dazi Kime, and then, you come on up, Antonio DeMarco, that name sounds familiar, but he struggled with him a little bit. Cecil McCullough, and then you get up here, man, and Eric Bone, Alexis Rocha. So when you look at those names, those names don't really jump out at you. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I understand people saying, okay, well, things look great against Rocha, but he still has some work to do. And for a guy who has 32 wins, some people say he hasn't got the opportunity. People are afraid to fight him. Now, I do know for a fact, I'm not the only one who said, hey, this guy has a chance to upset the apple cart. But I said it like, he'll probably he could easily win by decision because I just knew what he brought to the ring. I didn't know he brought that. But there were other people who were, as soon as this fight was announced, they're like, boom, he's about to destroy Rocha. And I was like, what the hell? How did he come up with that? You know what I'm saying? But after watching that fight, it's like, that's why I said, test him for the cocktail. And that was more of a compliment, saying that the way he performed, it just was like, it wasn't normal. And man, he was like Bionic Man in there. At least to me. But that being said, Santillan, in my understanding, has sparred with Tim Bradley. I think he did some work with Sean Porter. He sparred with Mayweather. And he's been in some other camps. He's been around boxing for a while, man. I mean, matter of fact, it's 2023, right? This man has 32 fights. But he started boxing in 2012. So he's been fighting for about 11 years. So he's been around for quite some time. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. So when you look at the fact that he's 31, so he started fighting back when he was a teenager as a pro. So he's been around, and it's good to see him getting his just due, because now he's bubbled right up to the number one in the WBO. So he's the man, because he beat the man. He beat the mandatory. So it is what it is. But that being said, sometimes it takes wins like this for us to really do a deep dive on fighters to better understand who they are and what they bring to the table. And if he would have never had that opportunity, he'd just be another guy we see out here in these racking stacks and these different sanctioning bodies where you're like, yo, who's that? Because I've been following, I'm always looking at the racking stacks across the sanctioning bodies, the number 1 through 15. And I've always seen his name. And I'm like, okay. I looked him up. I said, okay, he can fight. But he wasn't really out there like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, how does this guy keep hanging around in these damn sanctioning bodies? Well, now we know why. Because of what he brings to the table. But we just got to see. He gets in there with somebody who can outbox him. Because look, for those of you saying, there's some people saying he beats everybody at 147. What I'll say is this. Who would have thought that Chris Algieri would beat Ruslan Providnikov? Because Providnikov was another one. The man just a monster in the ring. But you get the boxer, some intelligence, a little bit of reach on him, educated jab, they can make that fight interesting. Some good legs under him, they can make the fight interesting. And for Santillan, I'm going to go ahead and draw that correlation between him and Providnikov. Those guys are coming to work, but Santillan is way more polished and refined. But don't get it twisted. He's coming in there to do damage, just like Providnikov. And if you let him get close to you, you will be in trouble. But the guy with the reach advantage, the educated jab, stays disciplined, stays calm, cool under fire, he has a very good chance to make the fight look quite simple. But if for some reason, for one moment, he mentally disengages, Santillan is going to tranquilize him. And that's just being 100% real with you. So that being said, Santillan, maybe new to some of us out here, but in the boxing world, boxing community, he ain't new to them. This man been around for a while putting in work. And the one thing he's known for is his motor, his conditioning, his work rate. And they say that man gives people hell in sparring. That being said, y'all keep cool. Yo, do a little research on Giovanni Santillan. He gets busy. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.